is the perfect time to follow Odin. What he has to offer are things that we need in this modern age. We are actually in an ascending age where we are more and more connected to higher realms, higher levels of consciousness that exist in beings that we call gods. Now, Odin has many names, many functions of the grander whole, if you will, and he is very much a guide that can bring us through a time of tribulation, of pain, of misunderstanding of what spirituality, soul, and the cosmos are. Odin himself is non-corporeal, you could say, a lot of the time. He is ephemeral. He can be corporeal, he can be ephemeral, but what he truly is, most of the time, is a God just behind this or that thought. A God that reaches out to those who reach out to him. Now, I'm going to read to you some of his names and what they mean. Now, my Norse pronunciation is not good, but I will do my best in order to pronounce these names so that you get a better idea of Odin. And I'll try to pick names from many different natures of Odin, if you will. Now, I will be reading from the book Odin, Meeting the Norse Allfather by Morgan Daimler. I'll go ahead and put up that book and that author in a picture to your left or right, but that's what the book looks like. Now, one of Odin's names are Aldafather, father of men. Aldafodur, Allfather. Algingaftur, aged god. Now, here's another name that would make you think that he's an evil god, but we'll get to that in a minute. Atruradur, attacking rider. This also may make you think he's more of a materialistic god. Adun, friend of wealth. And let's go to another one that will make you feel like he's very dark. Dragadrotin, Lord of the Dead. And he's obviously the god of warriors and wisdom most of the time. Different kinds of wisdom, though. Now, if we look at him as a husband, for instance, Frigjar Angon, joy of Frigg, his wife. Gangradur, traveler. And Odin is very much a god who is signified by the stranger that comes into town, the one who has knowledge for us and who has experiences to share with us. This is why the rule of hospitality, not only in Norse culture, but also in ancient Greek culture and in ancient Indian culture, is so important, and even in India nowadays, and in certain parts of Germany, is the value of the stranger and showing hospitality to he who comes from another place is very important. It creates a global community in the vaster sense, but in a more specific sense, it can be a god in disguise, a spirit in disguise. If it's just a human, it's also good to show them hospitality, but if it's a god in disguise, we must always be prepared to offer such hospitality. Now, his name for god of warriors is Hertir. His name for father of warriors is Höfodr. And let me go through a few more of these. I don't want to read every single name I got marked here. Oski, wish giver. And this is very interesting because, while he might grant wishes, there's always the idea of a gift for a gift. Gifu. You receive this gift from Odin, something that you really want, but you have to give something back in return, either for the grander cause of preserving the multiverse, or just something that spreads his name, his understanding to other people, or even destroying those who would fight the gods, the forces of chaos, the forces of entropy. You could say the giants, the Jotun. Now we go to another name that might make you think he is a little bit odd. Svipal, shapeshifter. And of course we have his many victory-oriented titles, different oriented names. Sigtyr, god of victory. Sigolfdir, father of victory. Sigdir, victory giver. And let me go to the last page here, if I can actually get to it. Here we go. This might also make you think that he's very terrible. Ygr, terrifying one. This is an interesting one. Vofuder, dangler, dangling from the tree of Yggdrasil with a rope tied around his neck. He also has a name for being the god of hanged men, for he can go to hanged men, bring life into them, and then learn their secrets, basically. One of the biggest things about Odin that we have to understand is that he has this overarching goal that I've talked about of gaining wisdom in every form. He's always looking for things that he does not know. And he's always looking for knowledge that will help him prevent the end of the world for as long as possible. That means this world, but also the multiverse. We're talking about all the realms along Yggdrasil. Odin is a god who can be very terrible. He's great in war. He can be deceiving. Grimnir, Masked One, for instance, is another one of his names. But everything is going towards this overarching goal of making sure that we have as much time as possible to make as much spiritual development as possible. So why is Odin such a good god to look to in our modern time, our modern age? Because obviously, a lot of the Vikings and many centuries ago, they looked up to Odin. They looked at him as the Allfather. And they raided, they stole, they also traded and settled with peoples. There was no racist idea. They mixed with everybody. They also, many Vikings, not all, enslaved people of the so-called same race. They had no concept of race, so people who use that racist stint on Odin are completely incorrect. But besides that, our ancient ancestors, our ancient Nordic ancestors, and more recent Nordic ancestors did terrible things on the behalf of Odin. But I would put forth that the gods ask from us different things at different times. And not only that, they ask from us things that they know we can understand based on our development, spiritually, physically, societally, and our ability to conceive of thoughts beyond the material. At one time, Odin might wanted our ancestors to raid, to steal, to plunder, to even enslave fellow Nords towards a goal that they didn't understand yet. They only understood battle. They only understood bravery. They only understood to gain wealth through trade or to settle new lands and make them their own. That's what they understood at the time, so the gods naturally helped them in those things, but as they developed into us now, the gods expect new things of us. Odin expects new things of us. What he expects of us is for us to not do what our ancestors did, but be better than them. Continue moving forward. Continue getting closer and closer to Asgard. Not just dying and going to Asgard, but making this multiverse, and especially this world, into a place of higher consciousness, which the Aesir, those who live in Asgard, like Thor, Odin, used to be Baldur, Frigg, Freyr, they are higher degrees of consciousness that have been waiting for us. The desire for us to make the multiverse more like the realm of higher consciousness that they live in. And that's what they expect from us now. So with Odin as our guide, we will constantly seek wisdom, constantly seek new information. And he can show us how to do that. The more attuned we are to Odin, the more we are able to understand, okay, I went through this pain because I needed to learn this lesson. My efforts in my job, in my family life, are to cultivate a healthier whole for my family, for my clan, for my state, nation, city, country, the world, but to cultivate an Asgard here on Earth. Which also, we have to say this again because there are many racist people who are Ashatuar. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with higher levels of consciousness. And Odin wanting us to make this world that so that it lasts for as long as possible. It'll be that much harder for chaos and entropy to creep into our lives if we make this world a place where higher consciousness can bloom and bear fruit. But that is up to every single seeker. We have to seek wisdom like Odin so we can find truth, find things we do not know and understand them. And then we have to be willing to sacrifice ourselves in different ways. We have to be willing to sacrifice our time. We have to be willing to sacrifice ourselves for others in many ways, as far as, working for our family, helping out our friends, things like that. But also, if there are people in danger and trouble that don't deserve to be accosted, we have to sacrifice also ourselves in that ways and even give our life. It is said that Odin decides if one of his Odinsmen, like I am, is going to die that day. He will give victory or he will give death. But both, no matter whichever one he chooses, is going to be the right choice for the multiverse. So follow Odin with caution. If you're not willing to give yourself to him completely, if you're not willing to sacrifice yourself for the grander good, the grander whole, then do not follow Odin. It is said that his Valknuts, the thing that I have around my neck right now, is basically a sign that says, place spear here. The Valknut is what he placed on Baldur's funeral pyre, his son, Baldur. And he whispered something in Baldur's ear, and nobody knows what it is. I have my own guesses, but I will not display them here. But he placed that symbol on his chest, so forevermore, the Valknut will be a symbol of sacrifice for Odin's cause. So be prepared for what you're getting yourself into. He's a very gray god. One of his names is Bolvika, which means evildoer. And the times that he does evil, and all, whether it's in the Grimness Mall, whether it's in the Voluspa, what have you, every time he does evil, it's for a grander good. So you can call him an anti-hero, if you will. He's very hard to understand, but he is the kind of god we need right now. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about Odin, shoot down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. Once again, the book that I used in this for the names, and a book that I'd also recommend regarding Odin. Now, the book I used for the names, and one that I'm still reading right now, and I haven't read all the way through, but I've read about halfway through, is Odin, Meeting the Norse Allfather by Morgan Daimler. You can find it on Amazon. That's where I bought it. Amazon.com. And if you got Prime, it's free shipping. This one is great. I read this all the way through years back, but it really affected me. It really helped me out in regards to Odin. It's Odin's Way in the Modern World. And that's by Wayland Skallagrimsson. And here's a side note. If you want to truly honor a book and truly learn something from a book, post-it notes throughout the book. Just tear it up, man. Absorb that knowledge. Become a seeker like Odin. And really dive in. So Odin's Way in the Modern World by William Skallagrimsson is a book that I'd recommend. And one that I'd recommend that's on Odin as well, but I haven't read as much of it, so I can't really talk too much about it. It's Odin, Ecstasy, Runes, and Norse Magic by Diana Paxson. That's also on Amazon. All three of these books are on Amazon, easy to buy. And I want to recommend one book regarding the runes, which I didn't even really go into, but in order to understand Odin and how he works, you have to learn about the runes. I use the Elder Futhark. You can use the Younger Futhark. There are other runic alphabets you can use, but to me they are primordial spirits, and this is something I learned from Raven Caldera. And Raven Caldera has a number of books that are wonderful as well relating to northern shamanism, but every single rune is a primordial spirit that is another strand that underlies reality, that supports everything in reality. So they're often called the gods of the gods, and they're the very fabric. So the more you know about the runes, the easier it is to understand the concepts relating to the gods, but also the concepts relating to cosmic forces and how they can affect you and how you can use them to your own benefit, like Odin would. And a book that I would describe as indispensable for this is Futhark, A Handbook of Rune Magic by Edred Thorson. I, of course, marked every page, every rune, and I have a bunch of post-it notes, and I've written all in the margins. So, Futhark, A Handbook of Rune Magic by Edred Thorson. Definitely a book you're going to check out. if you want to understand the runes and better understand the cosmic forces and understand Odin. So hey, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that watched this channel, and I'd very much like to converse with you on Odin. I will go ahead and put up how you can contact me on Facebook, so if you want to have a more intimate conversation about Odin that you don't want to put in the comment section below, then I'll go ahead and put my Facebook up there so that you can contact me through Messenger on Facebook. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope all of you find yourselves, and I hope all of you get closer to Odin.